Hello everyone. Welcome to day 16 of the 30-day series of Identity Foundation. In this session, we'll be talking about single sign-on, a very widely used topic, and a lot of people would already know about this. And if anyone is new, this is one of the common use case across organization. Single sign-on is a process where a user authenticates once and they are allowed to log into various different applications without having to log in again for a specific period of time. Okay. This allows access to multiple applications and websites with a single set of credential. That means you have a system. As a user, you log in here, and then multiple application opens up for you. Okay. Yeah. So this is the basic concept of single sign-on. Single sign-on is an authentication scheme that allows a user to log in with a single ID. You have to be careful here. If you're logging into this application with one username and password, this with the second one, that is not single sign-on. That is basic authentication that we have already discussed. Okay. So with SSO, a user logs in once and gains access to a system without being prompted to log in again at each of them. The best thing that you're achieving here is definitely security, compliance, and user experience. And this is reducing the password fatigue. Every time the user, let's say you log into 10, 15 different applications in a day, users are tired of putting in the username and password, right? And then in that case, they end up keeping, let's say, simple passwords, okay, which definitely are prone to being hacked. Okay, so the benefit here is implementing SSO offers several benefits for both users and organizations. Let's discuss them. The first one is improved user experience because now you have brought the entire login experience to a single time experience, right? It increases productivity as well because now I've seen some of the areas where people log in once and the overall login experience is 17 seconds. Now imagine 85,000 users or 100K users logging in every day and spending for one application 17 seconds. And then let's say for 20 application, if they are logging in, they're already saving an enormous amount if you look from the overall perspective. Overall, even if it is 50,000 users logging in daily, right, which with 17 seconds for each login, let me just calculate it. About 5 minutes, right, for 20 applications into, let's say, 50,000 people. Okay, this about 20 290K minutes. If I divide this by 60, which is almost about 4,000 hours, you're saving actually when you're implementing single sign-on. And again, this goes on and on, right? Definitely reduced cost. That's where it is reducing the cost. It is enhancing security because now you don't have to, you can put a number of complexities on the password, right? On complexities, on passwords, add additional factor because you're just logging in once. And eventually all of this is driving the organization towards better compliance. Fine. So here is a quick summary of how a streamlined access and security is achieved through single sign-on. First, it provides a improved user experience, increased productivity, less time logging in, more time on work, reduced password help desk costs, enhances security, and everything is moving towards compliance here. Centralized audit trails, meeting compliance requirements, every compliance that you say, you'll be able to meet primarily around these authentication and single sign-on. So let's talk about some of the common SSO architecture. This is where we'll definitely go about touching the different protocols in more detail. So first one, SAML, Security Assertion Markup Language. Okay. It's a very common protocol used for a very long time. Okay. And the primary purpose of SAML is to exchange data between two systems, so-called IDP, which is the identity provider, and SP, which is the service provider. Main function. Okay. So when you're working as an engineer, most of the time you'll be managing IDP on the IAM world. And here you have products like Ping, Okta, right? You have one login and many things. I do not remember Entra ID. Yes, all of this. Okay. So the first is identity provider. It's a system that authenticates the user. Here, you're actually, whenever you're putting that username and password, let me see. A user logs in and enters the username and password. It's the IDP that is giving you that screen. Okay, where you're entering the username and password. Because SP says, hey, I'm just an application and I've outsourced my authentication capabilities. So in that case, what happens? The SP will redirect the user to the IDP, and IDP will give the screen, and you are actually putting the username and password to prove who you are, means you're authenticating yourself, okay, in the IDP. And then let's go. These are the two main components. Now let's discuss on how this whole SAML works. So first is a user attempting to access a resource. That's the basic. You go and click on an application. Okay. Let me see if I have the drawing also. I have it. I'll just go through here. So user attempts, user tries to access a resource. There is a URL. You click on that URL. Say go. Okay. Then the user authenticates with the IDP. You get a screen. You put the username and password. Now this IDP will send that data after successful authentication to the SP, and SP will validate the user data, saying all the details that has been brought. So let me just draw here. User IDP SP trust login. So user IDP gives the username and password screen. You enter the username and password. IDP on the backend goes, validates that username and password against AD, comes back saying here are the list of details about the user, first name, last name, email. This creates an assertion and sends this here. SP consumes, checks its internal database, saying, okay, email that we have got in the assertion matches the email on my database, and edit access. So now give edit access to this user on the application level. This is how SAML works. Very simple. Okay. So advantages of SAML. Firstly, widely supported, and it's a widely adopted standards supported by almost all the vendors and platforms. Interoperability. SAML enables interoperability between different security domains. Okay. And third one is it definitely provides a way to exchange authentication and authorization data, which is in the form of an XML. So disadvantage is definitely complex. It can be complex to implement and configure. And there is a overhead where messages can be large, which can impact performances also. So with this, I summarize SAML and we'll continue OAuth 2.0 in the next class. Thank you very much.